bit late for the gym, so I can hurry up and get there. But let's talk about real quick a little hypothetical trade. I think Wilbur Sports put this one out again. That would send Zion to the Detroit Pistons, and I kind of talk about the fit. I get these Zion fans, I don't know if they Zion bots, Zion fans in the comment section that act like he this great player. He not. You can't be great and miss all those games. You don't care, but the trade was this, right? If you didn't see on the thumbnail, it was Tobias Harris, Ron Hollins, first in 2028, the first in 2030 for Zion. That's too much. That's exactly too much. The most I'm giving up for Zion is Tobias Harris and whatever else make that salary work. I think Tobias should be fairly close. Maybe a first round pick in the future, and that's it. I ain't giving up more than that. If I need to make it work a little bit more with salary, then cool, depending on who that is. But I'm not giving up Nathan for him, bro. Like he not no superstar, bro. You trade for him. I understand his contract is non-guaranteed, but I'm not giving up anything for real for him. I'd rather have Naz Reid. I'd rather pay Naz Reid in free agency, and I know it's a crapshoot getting him to come to Detroit, versus other places he might have opportunities to go. But I'd rather have Naz Reid, and I can either ship Tobias and a couple other players off somewhere else, and get a Devin Booker or whatever. I would prefer Trae Young over Zion. I'm not saying that I would do that, but that's just something I would prefer. And it's not like Zion gonna come to Detroit and play hard. Maybe you're gonna have a conversation, get permission from the Pelicans and the league to sit down and talk to him and see what he prefers. But not wanting to go to New Orleans, and then coming to Detroit, that's another foodie town. It's a lot of time that can put a target on your back. So, quite frankly, I think he wants to play in New York, and let him have his way. Let him have his way, and that's a treacherous, that might be what's best for him because Tom Thibodeau is going to make sure he in shape. He going to have to practice. Now, on the bad side of the scale, maybe his body can't take that practice. He always injured. But we already seen when he never played, you know what I'm saying? He always injured, so maybe you ramp up. Damn, that pothole every morning. Maybe you ramp up the practice and the production. And he Thibodeau get him in the shape. You get the best version of Zion. And I'm not saying the Detroit locker room can't absorb that, especially if you bring back Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, the veterans, and they all band around Zion and hold him accountable. We know Cade seems to be a solid leader. But also you got them other guys around him. Maybe they can show him how to be a true professional. You kind of see what I'm saying? So, in a way, you can hope that it worked. But guess what? I'm not giving up a bunch to hope that it worked. Maybe you do an incentive-based deal with draft picks, something historic like that, to make it work. But honestly, no, I'm not giving up a haul for a guy that may not want to be here, that may not want to play basketball, that got a lot going on outside the sport of basketball. The family is janky. They was complaining about being in New Orleans instead of saying, you know what, son, we got a once in a lifetime opportunity to change our family generation. You gonna step. You gonna put your best foot forward. You gonna put your best foot forward. And you gonna do this. We gonna be all in. Nope. They sound like a dysfunctional ass family to begin with. So no, I'm not giving up a bunch for him. I understand giving up a lot for Jaylen Brown or a Devin Booker or even a Trae Young. But when it comes to that draft of him and Ja Morant, I ain't giving up too much for Ja Morant too if I'm an NBA team. Too much going on. Lack of durability and lack of accountability off the floor with both of them. Sometimes, you bring evil into your room, or you bring some bad guys into your locker room, and it's not the move. I know I said you need some rednecks, you need some niggas, you need some hood niggas, you need some of them dudes, because guess what? In life, you mature. you can learn something from everybody in life. And it sounds crazy. You can learn something from everybody in life. The young is supposed to learn from the old and wise. And the old and wise is supposed to learn from the young. Believe it or not, it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street like a street in downtown Detroit. It's a two-way street. Because the young people have the information about what's going on today. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people believe, you know, racism is still the #1 target in this country. And it's still very high. You know what I'm saying? It's just really kept on the low because it's frowned upon. But really, the #1 attack now is really going that masculinity and feminism war. You know, that's the #1 attack. Believe it or not, white guys going through it too. But if you older, you out of touch. It's kind of like, I remember when I was coming out of high school, my mom was getting mad because I'm not going out there searching for jobs. I'm like, this ain't the 80s and the 90s no more. You know what I'm saying? Or the shit, even early 2000s. Everything is done online. And even more so, you fast forward about 10, 15 years, you know, later, a little more than that almost. And now everything exclusively done online. So the world is changing, and only young people can keep older people, you know, hip on what's going on today. But we also need to know, you know, the past. History repeats itself in many different forms, you know, including fashion, including, you know, just different, you know, issues and different things that come out today. So, but yeah, you know, me personally, I like the talent of Zion, but really, can the Pistons take another hit at a guy that can't shoot? They got shooters around them. I think him and JD would be nice together. I have no issue with that. But also on top of Zion, he hasn't improved as a ball player. Let's keep it a bean. He hasn't improved as a ball player. Tell me if I'm wrong. He hasn't truly improved. He hasn't become a better jump shooter, hasn't improved his post game, hasn't improved his conditioning. And we just keeping it funky. He simply has not improved. And you know, and people, I'm telling y'all that, man. On top of that, the conditioning hasn't improved. The game hasn't improved. And it's hard to improve your game when you ain't played, but when he plays, it's elite. I think, you know, you would have enough shooting around him. My thing is this: if I traded for him, I'm not giving up much. That's just my opinion. But I may be in the minority. Let me know what you think. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe button, bell icon button. Check out the Detroit Pistons Talk playlist for more videos like this. Hit the link tree, find me everywhere. Peace.